Hi, I'm Carol Andrews for another episode of Southwest TV News. Here are some of the stories coming up on today's show. $128.7 million has been approved by the Cypress Regional Health Authority for the 2013-14 operational budget, an increase of $3.3 million or 2.6% from the previous year. If you're out exploring one of Canada's many national parks or historic sites this summer, you may come across a unique camera crew in your travels. Google Maps has entered a partnership with Parks Canada to showcase the sights and sounds of these historic treasures from coast to coast. An array of visual artwork is on display at the West Wing Gallery in Swift Current, as students from across the Chinook School Division showcase their talents in the annual high school art show. Thanks for joining us here today. The paperwork has been finalized and the Cypress Health Region has a balanced budget for the upcoming year. We have more in today's top story. $128.7 million has been approved by the Cypress Regional Health Authority for the 2013-14 operational budget, an increase of $3.3 million or 2.6% from the previous year. Overall increases to the budget are shown in the area of staffing expenses. While on the revenue side, provincial funding accounts for 91.6% of the total operating revenue. The remainder of the revenue comes from long-term care and home care fees, third-party charges, and other miscellaneous recoveries. Larry Alson is the Executive Director of Finance for the Cypress Health Region and says each year is a challenge to balance the budget due to rising costs and other scenarios in healthcare.
So it's a 6-month process. There's tweaking, we find information from the ministry to where our funding levels are going to be and what we have to look for. We have, in the last 4 years, developed a program that's helped us balance our budgets. It's called our CHESS program, Cypress Health Employee Staffing Strategies. With the help from our staff, our managers, this has saved us a lot of money, conservatively $3.5 million in the last 4 years.
Nelson goes on to explain that the day-to-day operational costs, combined with 81% or $104 million of its overall budget spent on salaries, leave little room when it comes to meeting the lean guidelines set out by the province, while still providing quality care across the region.
Yeah, $350,000. So, when you look at the surpluses we've had in the past, even if you had a surplus of $1 million, that's only 3 days of operations. So, and any surpluses we get, that's a bonus for us because we turn that back into the infrastructures of the buildings and facilities that we have, and we know that those are crucial to having our operations. So, yeah, it's expensive.
The Cypress Health Region has 1,700 employees and serves approximately 44,000 residents across the Southwest. Southwest TV News is hitting the road with our annual Summer Around the Southwest tour, covering a variety of exciting events across the region. The Southwest TV News Summer Around the Southwest tour is proudly brought to you by Innovation Credit Union. Imagine the possibilities.
Trust the team at Pinnacle Financial to help you reach your financial goals. Whether you require personal or corporate income tax planning, bookkeeping, management consulting, or full-service mortgage brokering, our expert team has you covered. Contact us today to begin your climb to the top.
The spotlight is on Parks Canada as Google Maps is traveling to a number of key locations across Saskatchewan. If you're out exploring one of Canada's many national parks or historic sites this summer, you may come across a unique camera crew in your travels. Google Maps has entered a partnership with Parks Canada to showcase the sights and sounds of these historic treasures from coast to coast. The Google Maps crew is already on site in Saskatchewan and will visit Fort Walsh, Grasslands National Park, Prince Albert National Park, Batoche, and Fort Battleford National Historic Sites, with on-site crews capturing the images with the latest high-tech gear.
I think a lot of your viewers probably think, when they think Street View, they think of those cars that collect Street View imagery of streets and public streets and that sort of thing. Well, we are going to have the Street View cars collecting images from the roads and highways that do kind of bisect some of these national parks, but we will also have something called the Trekker. And the Trekker is basically a Street View backpack. It is a camera-mounted system that you wear on your back, 15 cameras that capture 360-degree panoramas as you walk through these amazing trails. It really will be the workhorse of our collaboration with Parks Canada, and it'll allow us to kind of go off-road and capture the amazing imagery of these trails.
Once the footage is captured, it's sent off to California, where license plates are blurred and the images are transformed into a 360-degree panoramic view. A process which takes approximately 2 months before available online for public viewing. An exciting project which Parks Canada is pleased to be a part of, with Saskatchewan making the cut in the first year, and offering an overall unique educational aspect for students.
A lot of the national historic sites tell a lot of really key, important national messages about the history and development of Canada, but obviously many teachers and schools and students can't access each of those historic sites. So in a lot of ways, this will help those students and those teachers to access sites that maybe are too far away.
And tourists will also benefit from the Google Maps experience when planning their next vacation.
So they can actually go on and see what the park has to offer. So, do they have a campground, which they do? What kind of facilities do they have? What are the trails like? Or, for example, Grasslands has the Eco Tour Drive, so they could virtually take the drive down the Eco Tour road and learn a lot about the park that way. It's also a way for Parks Canada in particular to reach people who are getting increasingly urbanized in our big cities. And so they may not have access to these parks and sites, and this allows them to learn a lot more about Canada's ecological and cultural history.
The Google Maps Canada Parks project will span over 2 years, spotlighting over 120 national parks and historic sites. Images from the Saskatchewan project will be available online over the next several months.
Overwhelming emotion. There's so much excitement and just overwhelmed that to come this far. We have worked so hard in the last 6 months. This is the game that we've been training for since the beginning of the year, was to play Mindfox. We've always known that they were super strong and competitive, and then after they won the Nationals, coming into it knowing that we're playing against the national champions and to actually pull ahead and beat them is mind-blowing.
Basically, we knew they were going to be tough, we knew they're physical, and we knew we were in better shape than they were. And we knew if we hit, and they were going to try and hit us, that eventually they'd get tired first. And you could see it in the game there, that when they got lead jam, they had to call it off. They couldn't rack up the points against us because they just couldn't skate that long. And we knew when it got tough, we were going to prevail there because we were just better shape, better conditioning.
Aspiring artists from across the Southwest have their work on display during the annual high school art show. We have more in this report. An array of visual artwork is on display at the West Wing Gallery in Swift Current, as students from across the Chinook School Division showcase their talents in the annual high school art show. From pottery, stained glass, to Art Deco clothing and accessories, the students' creativity shines through in this exhibition.
It's supposed to be a non-traditional self-portrait, so I decided to do an older car, kind of showing that the wheels support me, which is kind of like my friends and family that support me, and how the car is, older and not necessarily reliable, kind of like how I can be sometimes. I always need a little extra boost to help me get places and go places and whatnot.
Art for many is an avenue of solitude and self-expression, and the exhibition is an opportunity to shine the spotlight on themselves while stepping out of their comfort zone.
Usually I just sort of keep my art to myself, but I thought it'd be nice to kind of let everyone else see it for once.
I know art's always open to interpretation, so I'm kind of curious what other people will think of what I have on there. It's an interesting feeling. I'm a little worried about what people will think in a way, but it's exciting. I like it.
Knowing that people are noticing what I can do, like seeing what I created and seeing their faces, looking at what I did, it just makes me feel happy and proud of what I can do.
Stephanie Canuck is a professional artist and instructor at the Art Gallery of Swift Current and applauds the exhibition, while saying it's an encouraging outlet for the students and helping to shape their future aspirations.
I think that high school is the time when artists begin to bloom and start to make career choices as young people, and to have an opportunity like this to see their own work on the wall is often life-changing.
The high school art show is open to the public through June 30th at the West Wing Gallery, located within the Airmen's Barracks at Kinetic Park. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at mylocaltv.ca. And be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.